Hello everyone, welcome back to another amazing tutorial. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to draft the body's basic pattern. Alright, here I'm working with the cardboard paper and I have two papers here. So for the back I just measured out my 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance, as you can see. So I folded it in like so. Then I'm going to align the two papers together, just to enable me work with it, and then I will go ahead to use my masking tape to hold it down to the table. All right, so let's jump into the video. So I carefully aligned my two papers like so, folding in my zipper allowance. So here I'm going to start my vertical measurement first. I already drew out a horizontal line which is going to serve as my starting point as well. So I'm just going ahead to label that my shoulder line because my measurement is going to start from that very point. Okay. So that is my shoulder line. All right, so I'm going to measure from my shoulder to my bust line. Just take your measurement from your shoulder to your bust point. In my case it is 10.5 inches. I'm going ahead to mark the 10.5 inches like so, and I'll mark the 10.5 inches again and then connect with the horizontal line. I'll label that my bust line. The next measurement is going to be my shoulder to my under bust. So I'm just going to take my under bust measurement. I'm going to place my tape again on my shoulder line and then mark my under bust point. Okay, so in my case it is 14.5 inches. So I'm going ahead to mark the 14.5 inches like so, and then I'm going to connect with a horizontal line again. Alright, when that is done, I would quickly go ahead and label that my under bust. Okay, so the next measurement is going to be my shoulder to waist. So I'm going ahead to place my tape again, starting from my shoulder to get my waist line. All right, so in my case it is 16.5 inches. So I'm going ahead to mark the 16.5 inches like so. All right, so I'll mark the 16.5 inches. When that is done, I'll quickly connect with a horizontal line again. All right, just follow up what I'm doing. It is not difficult. All right, it's so simple. All right, so I'm going ahead to label that my waist line. Okay, now the next measurement is going to be my shoulder to my hip measurement. Okay, so just go ahead and measure from your shoulder to your hip, or starting from your waist. From my waist to hip is 8 inches. Just go ahead and measure your own like so. Either you measure from your waist to hip or from your shoulder to your hip, is all the same thing. So just mark your own. In my case it's 24.5 inches. So I went ahead and marked the 24.5 inches and I connected with a horizontal line again. Then I'll quickly label that my hip line. Okay, right now we are done with the vertical measurements. So the next measurement is going to be our neck depth and width. Okay, right now I'm going back to my shoulder line to mark 3 inches for my neck width, and then I'll mark 3 inches for my neck depth. Okay, then I'm going to grab my French curve to connect the points together. When that is done, the next measurement is going to be our shoulder measurement. So just take your shoulder measurement and divide it by 2. Okay, in my case it is 14 inches. I'm going to divide 14 inches by 2, and then which is going to give me 7 inches. I'm going to start the 7 inches just from that very point, from this point. Okay, and then I'll mark my 7 inches for my shoulder. All right, Then from that point, I'm going to take my armhole measurement. Another way of calculating your armhole measurement is to divide your bust circumference by 6 and then add 1.5 inches. Okay, so I went ahead to mark, in my case it is 8 inches, so I went ahead to mark the 8 inches then, and I connected with a straight line. All right, so when that is done, I'm going to extend the line like so. So this is going to be my chest line. I'll go ahead to label this my chest line. All right, so then on my shoulder line again, I'm going to go down by 1 inch like so. I'm just trying to create my shoulder slope. When I go down by 1 inch, I'm going to connect that point back to my neck. All right, now the next measurement is to get our nipple to nipple measurement. Just take your tape and measure from your nipple to nipple. Okay, in my case, your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. In my case it is 4 inches, so I'm going ahead to mark the 4 inches on my bust line. Then on my under bust line, I'm marking the 4 inches again. All right, so I'll also do the same thing on my waistline. I'll mark the 4 inches again. Then on my hip line, I'll mark the 4 inches again. So when that is done, I'm just going to connect the lines together, the points together with a straight line. All right, so now the next measurement is going to be our armhole. We're going to create our armhole curve. All right, now it is time to create our armhole curve. All right, so in order to do that, you're just going to place your tape from this point to this very point. Okay, just place your tape there to get the midpoint. When you get the midpoint, mark the midpoint. All right, and then you're going to go in by half an inch. Just go in by half an inch. All right, and mark the point. Okay, now you're going to be connecting that point and this point together to form your, or to create your armhole curve. All right, just carefully place your French curve. Make sure these points are meeting. Join the points together. Place your ruler carefully, and then you're going to create your armhole curve. All right, just follow up what I'm doing. All right, so carefully smoothing the curve. So this is going to be our armhole for the front panel. Now the next thing is to create our armhole for the back. Okay, all right, to create the armhole for the back, just make sure these points and these very points are meeting. Okay, this point and this point, then place your ruler just the way I'm doing it. Connect the points together. If you can connect using your free hand, you can do that, but I just love using my ruler. Okay, so just place your ruler like so and connect the points together. Carefully connect the points together. Okay, now I'm just going to smoothen it out. Yeah, our back armhole is ready, so I'm just going ahead to label that my back armhole in order not to get confused. All right, the next measurement is going to be our bust circumference. So on your bust line, just take your round bust measurement, divide it by 4, and then place the measurement on your bust line. Okay, in my case, my round bust measurement divided by 4 is giving me 9.7. So I'm going ahead to mark the 9.7 on my bust line. Then I'll go to my under bust. I'll divide my round under bust by 4, and then it is giving me 8 inches. So I'm going ahead to mark the 8 inches like so. I'll do the same thing on my waist. I'll take my waist circumference, divide it by 4, and then mark whatever measurement it gives me on that my waistline. Okay, then I'll go back to my hip line. I'm going to take my round hip measurement, my hip circumference. I will divide it by 4 and then place the measurement on my hip line. All right. And so now when I'm done marking the measurement, I'm going ahead to connect the lines together using my ruler. Okay, so I'm going to connect the lines smoothly like so. Now that is done, it is time to create our dart. So I'll go back to my bust line. Okay, I'll go down by 1 inch on my bust line. I'll just go down by 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going ahead to mark the 1 inch like so. Then I'll go back to my hip line. I'm going to go in by 2 inches on my hip line. I'll go in by 2 inches. Just go up, just the way I'm doing it. Mark 2 inches. Okay, go in by 2 inches, and then I'll mark the 2 inches. Then on my waistline, I'm going to take ½ inch on both sides of that straight line. Okay, I'm going to mark ½ an inch on both sides of that line. All right, now I'm done marking the ½ an inch, okay, on both lines. I'm just going ahead to make sure it is okay. All right, so I'm going to connect the lines together to create my dart. I'll connect the lines carefully like so, and then my dart is being created. Now to create our side dart, we're going to be creating our side dart now. All right, now carefully get the midpoint of your chest line and your waist line, the midpoint of here and here. Okay, all right, just get the midpoint, find the midpoint, and then mark the point. Okay, then on that point, you're going to take ½ an inch on both sides of that point. All right, place your tape again, mark ½ an inch on both sides of that point. Then you're going to use your ruler to connect the line, the midpoint. I'm going to connect it to that very point there with a straight line. Okay, that very point, connect it with a straight line to meet the other point. All right, so when that is done, you're going to be creating your side dart. So this is just all about the dart. All right, now we're going to be creating our neck depth for the back panel. Okay, I'm just going to go down by 2 inches. All right, just go down by 2 inches on that side. okay, and then connect the point back to the other point, just the way I'm doing. So this is going to be our neck depth for the back panel. All right, you know the front neck depth and the back neck depth are not the same. Okay, so when that is in, I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the I'm just going ahead to cut out the panel. First of all, I'll cut the back panel first before cutting the front panel. All right, just watch what I'm doing. I'm going ahead to cut out the back panel first. Make sure you cut out the back panel first. Cut the back first before the front. All right, just go ahead after cutting out the back panel, and then keep it aside and then cut out the front panel. Okay, now I'm done cutting out both the front and back panel. This is what I'm having. All right, thank you for watching this video. If you know you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, don't forget to share with your friends. See you in my next video. Bye.